I think like many of us, was really excited about the curved wall update for The Sims 4. When I first heard about it, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna build castles and towers and like silos for my barns. And then I actually got my hands on it and I was like, oh, this is difficult. So the very first day the update came out, I was obviously very excited and I was like, yes, I'm doing it. I'm gonna build a lighthouse with a beautiful tower. And I got started doing it and I very quickly realized that it was unpleasant. So I started building this like sort of smallish house with a big tower next to it. I had these visions of like a ladder or a beautiful staircase all the way up the tower and a beautiful room at the top. And I very quickly realized that that was just not going to happen because you actually can't put stairs or ladders inside of curved rooms this small. The bigger curved rooms that have like some slight straight pieces to them, you can put ladders and stairs in those. But because this curved room is so small, you can't have a ladder or a staircase in that like really curved part. And so you just can't have a ladder up to the top of this tower. It's physically impossible. You can't have a ladder on the outside of the tower. You can't have a door on the outside of the tower. I can't have a foundation or a staircase to the outside of the tower. And so spoilers, but the tower at the very end of this video is literally empty. Despite all of my best efforts, there was nothing that could be done. I could not put anything in the tower or find a single way to make the tower accessible to my Sims. It was so beyond frustrating. And that is why I built this house like a month ago and I have not posted the video until just now because I had to take some time to just emotionally accept the fact that this is what happened when I tried to build this lighthouse. I do think the house in the end turned out really beautifully. Like I think it's a very nice looking build. It's just not how I envisioned it being. Like I really wanted it to be a functional tower and it's just not. It's just a big empty cylinder and that's all we can get from it. The house itself though, like I said, turned out pretty cute. It's actually kind of big on the inside as well. I guess it's a small house that has a lot of small bedrooms inside. It's also very traditional looking. It's got a lot of like quilts and like old wood furniture. It's like very antique. I think it's kind of cute. Two of the rooms have their own balconies. It's got this beautiful view of the ocean right here. It's also got a lovely back porch with like a grill and a fire pit. Like this in general is a really nice place to live if you just ignore the fact that it's got a giant tower attached that you can't even walk into. I don't even want to think about it anymore because you can't even put a door. Like it's touching the wall, but like the way that curved walls work, I can't put a door between that curved wall into the straight wall. Oh my god. I understand that curved walls are very difficult to make work in The Sims. I did not really expect them to be like the easiest things to use. I'm used to it with the curved fences and stuff, but sincerely, they are so annoying. I just don't know if I'll ever use them again. Like, will I ever build a castle with like entirely curved rooms like I thought I would? Absolutely not. No way. Absolutely not. I will not do that. Part of it is the fact that you can't really easily place furniture in the curved rooms. There's like a weird bug where when you try and place an item, sometimes it like glitches out of the room. It's hard to explain, but like it kind of just drags your mouse away. And then once you've placed it, sometimes it's hard to click back on it to pick it up again. And that's of course if you can even manage to make one of the rooms that's attached to your building functional, because otherwise there's no point putting any furniture in there at all. Also, of course, not all of the windows and doors fit on these curved rooms because the walls are so curved. Not every window is gonna fit on a curve because they're built for straight walls. But it just, long story short, I don't like looking at the tower part of this building. And as far as the tower goes, obviously a lighthouse in real life is there like on the water like this because it's supposed to be a big beacon to like guide ships or something. I don't know. I'm a Sims player. I don't know about lighthouses, but that's kind of the idea, right? So I wanted to put a big light in the top of this building, maybe like a beacon or something. There was a lot of discussion in my Twitch chat about what is the best way to do this. We ended up putting like a giant sized up light in that top room with the windows. But we also did try and put like a light on the top. We tried to use like the Get Famous spotlights and it all just looked kind of weird. So we settled for just like a light in the room, but it's not as bright as I would like it to be. You know how lighthouses are there to help guide your ship at night, help protect you on the water? Well, NordVPN is there to help protect you on the internet. I've been using NordVPN for literally years. So when they reached out to sponsor a video, I was like, yes, please. Thank you very much. I will gladly do that. NordVPN is a super easy to use VPN, like connect with one click and you're good to go. It's got over like 5,400 servers in 59 countries, which for me is really good because I won't lie, VPNs are great for protection and all, but I tend to use VPNs to watch stuff that's not available here. Like for example, I just finished watching Love Island, but I wanted to watch it real time, like as it was coming out and not wait for it to come out here. And so I used NordVPN to make my computer think that I was in the UK so that I could access it. NordVPN is has also very kindly offered a humongous discount to our community. So you can go to nordvpn.com/lilsimsie for a huge discount on the 2-year plan. And thanks to their brand new cybersecurity awareness campaign, they're offering 4 months for free with the purchase of a 2-year plan. It's also risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. NordVPN is the fastest VPN out there, and it works on like every major platform. So I use it on my computer, my laptop, and my phone. So if you want to check it out and get that huge discount, you can go to nordvpn.com/lilsimsie, and I'll have that link down below for you. And with that being said, let's get back into that speed build. Anyway, so the general exterior shape and like general style of this house is pretty much figured out at this point. I guess one small downside is obviously this lot is really, really small, and so you can't really fit like the biggest of backyards or anything on here. But I guess in my defense, if you lived on this lot, you do have like the whole of the beach right next to you that you can go and visit. So I mean, maybe your actual plot of land is small, but like you've got the beach. So I think you'll be okay. I'm building this on that little like starter home lot from the cats and dogs world, and I just have such fond memories of this lot. I think this one is probably one of my favorite out of all of the lots in the whole game, specifically because I used to use this to pretend that I was building beach houses before we had actual beaches. You know, back in my day, before we had island living, we only had this lot. This was like the beachiest lot you were gonna get. I guess you might be able to pretend that like one of the lots on the island from Get Together is also a beach, but it was kind of just like a sandy lot in the middle of an island. It wasn't like on the water or anything, and there wasn't like actual beach gameplay. You couldn't swim in it or anything like that. And so this one was the closest we were gonna get to a beach house. So I used to build loads of beach houses on this lot right here and just like dream of the day we'd get real beaches in The Sims. So I always look back on this lot kind of fondly because I used to build on it so often back in the olden days. Perhaps now I won't look back on it so fondly now that the lighthouses have done this to me. Now we've had the lighthouse incident of 2022. Perhaps I won't have such fond memories or feelings towards this one. I'll stop complaining though, and I'll walk you through this floor plan a little bit. So you can see you first walk into the house into like the entryway living room combo space. There's a big rug, big fireplace, and also the staircase to the upstairs right there in that room. From there, you go to the right and there's a pretty big formal dining room, and off of that dining room, there's also a kitchen and like a little study space. So this house is very like roomy. And I don't mean like it's big and open and roomy. I mean it's like a bunch of different little rooms. But I think that's kind of fitting for the style of it. We're trying to go for like an older build, so it's nice to have lots of little separate rooms in here. And oh my goodness, I did something very controversial. I put a tiny bathroom in this house. So this one ends up being a 2-bathroom house. It's got one what I call half bathroom or like powder room downstairs, and then one bigger bedroom upstairs. And for some reason, as soon as you start talking about bathrooms, people in my Twitch chat get very upset. I do this a lot in my builds where I'll put like a 3x1 kind of long skinny bathroom. You can see it right there next to the dining room. People get furious about this. They'll like yell at me about how unrealistic it is to have a long skinny bathroom like that. And I'll have you know that I live in a house with a long skinny bathroom like that. In fact, mine might even be smaller than that 3x1 bathroom. I've got a bathroom like underneath the stairs in my townhouse where I live right now. And so as you can imagine, it's kind of long and skinny because it's underneath the stairs, like just tucked away in the hallway a little bit. But people in my Twitch chat will be like, well, in my country, we would never do a bathroom that small. And frankly, I think you're lying. I don't think that's true. I think that everywhere, depending on the kind of house you live in, everywhere has small bathrooms in certain places. Like, come on. Like every time a person yells at me about the bathroom being too small, I'm like, whoa, okay, all right. You and your big bathrooms. Okay, brag about it. You've got big bathrooms. But to me, that one is so normal. Like that just, it's not weird at all. I think it's super realistic and I think it's kind of cute, but a lot of people really get upset. So this house has that one skinny bathroom downstairs and then one like main bathroom upstairs with the shower and the bathtub and stuff. Again, to me, super realistic, especially in like maybe an older house. I get it that in a lot of like newer builds, like more modern builds, in a lot of parts of America too, there's like a lot of bathrooms. A lot of times like those houses in LA the YouTubers have, they'll all have like an ensuite bathroom in every single bedroom and it's like a 5-bedroom, 6-bathroom house or something. But a lot of older houses are like 1 bathroom and maybe it's been renovated to add a 2nd bathroom. And that's what I was going for with this. So I will sincerely apologize if I have offended any of you big bathroom havers with my placement of the tiny bathroom in this build. But I like it. I think it's cute. It's really interesting because a lot of the people that complain about it or like point out that it's weird aren't even from the US. Like it's a lot of people in Europe that are like, oh, well, in Sweden, we don't do this. And then I don't know, I haven't been to Sweden, so it's very confusing to me. But they will also be like, well, in the UK, we don't do this. And that to me is a outright lie because obviously I've been to the UK a fair amount, right? Like my husband is from the UK. He just moved here last year. And I have been in some very tiny bathrooms in England, okay? Like we're talking, if it was in The Sims, it would be like a 1x1, maybe like a 1.5x1. Like I've been in some very tiny bathrooms, like obviously added in a renovation, like tried to fit it in, squeeze it into an older house. And so I just find it very confusing that this is a topic of conversation, but I'm curious to hear in the comments what you all think about this. Like what I don't know, what bathroom size is unreasonable to you? Let me know about your bathroom sizes in the comments down below. Everybody go get a measuring tape. I would like for you to measure your bathroom in real life and tell me the dimensions. I'm sorry, that is an extremely weird request. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't tell me how big your bathrooms are. Don't, please. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. It is storming. That came out of nowhere. Oh, the sky is angry. The sky doesn't like this bathroom talk or the curved walls, apparently. My dad also just texted me. He was saying that apparently the neighbors are getting a new roof, and the neighbors, they literally just finished like pulling off all of the old shingles, and the sky has decided to rain down on them. It's Florida. We get these like storms out of nowhere very often, but that is extremely unfortunate timing to have just removed all of the shingles and then all of a sudden the sky opens up and rains down on you. That actually really sucks. I'm sorry for them. Anyway, I'm furnishing the bedrooms now in this house. You can see there's a couple of kids' bedrooms and there's also that one main primary suite here. Both of the kids' bedrooms have the balconies and the main bedroom does not, which is maybe a little bit unfortunate for the parents or like the owners of this house, but at least their bedroom is bigger, right? The kids might get balconies, but at least their bedroom is a bigger size, you know? I would have loved to have a balcony like this when I was a kid. Oh my God. I mean, obviously my parents' house is not like that. My bedroom window looked out on a fence, like a bright red fence, my neighbor's red fence. They've since painted it, so that's good. But I certainly did not have a balcony overlooking the ocean in my bedroom at home growing up. So these two children are very lucky. Do you know what else? Maybe it's my fault for being bad at The Sims, but oftentimes when I'm building these houses, I'll make like the tiniest room is the one that has the balcony. I think it's just because it ends up being like how the floor plan works out. Like the small room gets the balcony, and then I'll go and like make it a toddler's room. And let's be honest with ourselves for a second. You probably don't want a toddler having a balcony. I mean, of course you can like lock the door and try and childproof it, but still, you probably don't want a toddler's bedroom to be the one with the balcony, right? Like that just doesn't seem like the safest call. And I do that in my Sims builds sometimes. So my bad. At least it's The Sims and it doesn't matter, you know? No one's gonna like fall off or anything. It's fine. Is talking about falling off balconies brand safe? Probably not. But you know what is safe? You know what keeps you safe? NordVPN. I'm sorry. Cut, please. It was just such a good segue. It just fit right in. I had to do it. Anyway, the build is almost done. You can see we're kind of doing some of the last minute touches in the last room. I left the living room for last. I don't know why. I think I was stressed about how big it was. It's like in this house, most of the rooms are kind of small and also off on their own. Like they're sort of enclosed, smaller spaces. But this room was like the living room, the TV room. It has the hall for the laundry space, and it also is the entryway. And so it was stressing me out. And so I was kind of trying to avoid having to furnish it, but I think it worked out okay. I think it's fine. I would have maybe been a little bit happier if there was a slightly more formal entryway in this house. Like I think I would have liked to have had a separate entryway room. I just felt like the floor plan didn't really work out for that. Like I kind of prioritized having a slightly bigger living room versus like having a tiny entry, tiny living space, you know? And I think this is better. Even for gameplay, it's a little bit better, but maybe I'm a little bit less happy with it being like this. And now last but certainly not least, we are doing the landscaping of this build. I did some classic Simsy landscaping here, like with the low-lying flowers and then the bigger flowers. I know how to do one kind of landscaping. I also put blue flowers because I was like, haha, blue, like the water. That was my honest mindset in furnishing this, which I know is kind of silly, but it's cute. It turned out cute, I think. Gameplay-wise, in the back of the house, there's like a beautiful grill, there's a table, I think there's a rocking chair, and there's also some little planter boxes and a fire pit. So I managed to fit in a lot of like like cutesy things outside in a relatively small outdoor space in the back. And that's pretty much the whole build. So now that that's done, I want to pop into the game and give you like a more proper tour. Oh, lovely weather we're having here. Excellent. Okay, well, I built it on this lot. Let me go grab the actual version. Oh my God. I forgot that on the gallery photo is ruined. We simply can't catch a break. It's fine. Everything's fine. Well, this is the finished product. Maybe the rain is appropriate for our mood today. You can see on the outside, I put like a little bit of landscaping. There's a little gnome in the front. We have these two balconies. I put a telescope on one and then like a little chess table on the other, both kind of useful gameplay objects. In the back, we have that adorable little garden space I was talking about. We have the grill, which, oops, apparently my sim did some grilling. That is my bad. I did not realize that's on the gallery. So you get a free snack if you download. There's also a little tiny rocking chair. And then we have like some kids playground equipment over here. I really like the back of the house. I made this custom trellis using two different pieces from Eco Lifestyle. You can see I've got the vertical and the horizontal ones. And then I sort of combined them together to make a trellis. And I thought it looked so pretty. I'm not acknowledging this part. I'm just moving straight along to the inside of the house, which is also very pretty. You can see we have this living room right here. You walk in through this door, and I put this little tiny like lighthouse model in a couple places in the house because I thought it was kind of funny. Off of the living room, we also have a little tiny laundry space right here in this little nook. And then we have the dining room back here, another one of those lighthouse models, the controversial tiny bathroom. And then you go into the kitchen through here, which I thought was so cute. I really liked this wallpaper as a backsplash. This one was also kind of controversial, but I thought it was adorable. And then we have a little like office study space in this kind of sunroom area off the kitchen. And then when you go upstairs, we've got a little tiny hallway, the main bathroom for the whole house, and then 3 bedrooms. So we've got this like main primary bedroom. We have one little green kids room, which I absolutely loved the color scheme of. I love this bed so much. And then we have one other kind of green, but also kind of peachy kids room. And they also have a huge balcony. And that is the whole house, except for the fact that there's an empty tower, which I choose to disregard because it's upsetting. So if you're looking for this on the gallery, just look for the tree and you'll find it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I really actually did like this build. I'm kind of just kidding about the tower stuff, but it is annoying. The round walls are annoying. And if you wanted to go check out NordVPN, make sure you go to nordvpn.com/lilsimsie to get that huge discount. I'll have that link down below. And with that being said, I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow, okay? Bye, everybody. One time when I was a kid, my Girl Scout troop and I climbed up a lighthouse. Like, not like climbed the outside, we didn't like scale it, but it had stairs like going all the way up and we walked up the stairs. So that was interesting.